Okay. Hi, I'm Zach. I'm the founder and leader of Alpha Ventures. So I wanted to get you guys set up on how to participate in some of the DeFi calls and also introduce you to using Web3 wallet and investing in DeFi projects. So I'm using the Google Chrome browser, as you can see here. That's the one that I like to use. It also has a extension that I use called Metamask. This is essentially a Web3 wallet, and this is the website that you can download the extension. You're going to need one of these or a similar Web3 wallet in order to participate in DeFi. So go ahead and download this and you'll be almost ready to start. So as I mentioned before, when you're investing in DeFi, you need your Web3 wallet, but you also need to know what chain the project is on. So there's this website called chainless.org. It essentially allows you to connect your wallet and add any of these chains. So as you can see here, the first 6 of these are kind of the most popular chains, and then you get other less popular ones down here as well. These right here are good to start off. So I would recommend going and connecting your wallet and adding all these chains to your MetaMask. And once you've done so, as you can see here, you have you have your wallet. This is just this account, but as you can see right now, I'm on the Binance Smart Chain, which you can add through Chainless. And then something else to consider is that you need the chain's native gas token in order to transact on the blockchain, which essentially is just gas and transaction fees to make transactions of the blockchain, right? So Binance Smart Chain uses BNB. Now you can buy these through a centralized exchange like Binance, on KuCoin, on Gate.io. So I'd recommend going and establishing an account on those. They do require KYC, but there are other methods of getting BNB and sent over to your wallet. You can probably buy with debit or credit cards. You just have to look for the opportunity. So you could just Google that. But once you have your native gas token, you can send your funds to your MetaMask wallet. This is the address you would send it to. And then once you have the gas token, you're good to go. So I'm specifically on Binance Smart Chain because that's what the Kyoto project is on. It was a recent call I made that was, we were able to get in the pre-sale for $15. So we got a nice 2x from there. All right, so we have our Web3 wallet. We have our BNB ready to transact, but you need to have funds to be able to buy things. So a good idea is if you're completely new to DeFi, I would just send quite a bit of BNB, whatever value you're okay with spending, have like a certain amount of funds you want to work with. And then there are these things called decentralized exchanges. For Binance Smart Chain, this is the one that I use, as well as Bog Finance. But if you have BNB, you could pretty much swap it to whatever token. So right here we have like, it's like a stable coin. Essentially, if you're familiar with USDC, this is kind of Binance's version. So you can use, your BNB and swap to whatever you need. I'm going to take you to an example of a project in DeFi. So this is Kyoto. This is the one that I mentioned we got in on pre-sale. So when you go to a website's homepage, it's going to look something like this. It's going to usually have a description of the project. And you can kind of look for more information. If you want to engage in the D app, which is the Web3 version of it, you can enter the app usually, but this project hasn't released its official D app. It only has released its token, as you can see here. So if you actually go to this page right here, how to buy, it tells you how to do this. So these are the example steps that I mentioned, right? So you need to buy BNB and BUSD. You don't need to buy it. You can kind of swap it on this website, pancakeswap.finance. But you could also follow these steps. You can buy your crypto. You're going to need to send BNB to your MetaMask. Install MetaMask. That's what we did earlier. And then as you can see here, they have the pre-sale or the fair launch. So that's what we ended up getting into. So this is kind of how to invest in the project. And if you're like early enough to get in on an entry, you're going to have steps like this, or they're going to have something in their Discord, right? So you can usually find the Discord at the bottom of every web page. But so you want to know more about how to actually buy tokens after I call them. So let's go ahead and show you that. As you can see here, I have the chart up for Kyoto. It also on this website called dexscreener.com. Now, how to get to this page, right? So let me just take you from the beginning. You have dexscreener.com right here. We already know the name of the token. You should know that. You could find it in the Discord or something else. You want to make sure this is the correct token. So I usually know because the liquidity is pretty high. The age makes sense based on when the project came out, and the volume looks good. You can also use these other tools, like you can scan the token on these things to make sure you're not buying into a honeypot, which is essentially a rug pull of sorts. So make sure, use these tools. Since I'm a veteran, I don't have to really use them anymore. I can kind of see what looks like real transactions. But if you're just getting into DeFi, I recommend using them. All right, so we know we want to buy Kyoto. So you remember the DEX that I showed you earlier, the decentralized exchange, PancakeSwap? This can actually take you straight to PancakeSwap, where you can exchange any of your tokens, like your BNB, or if you happen to have BUSD, you can trade it for Kyoto. Now, something to keep in mind specifically for this project is that it has something called buy and sell taxes. Don't know why that's going on. But when you buy your token, you'll have to pay some sort of tax, and essentially what that helps like in sustainability for the protocol. So keep that in mind. You're going to want to look at the white paper to know how much that tax is. I do know that for selling the token, it's something like a 20%. So you're going to need to adjust things like slippage. I think I was using PancakeSwap for a little while and it wasn't working. And then someone recommended I use the other one that I mentioned before, Bog Finance, similar to PancakeSwap, but you're kind of gonna need an extra step here. So if you actually go back to this page, you can copy the Kyoto token address just by clicking here. And then when you select your token, what you want to swap to, you can just paste that address. And as you can see, it's already saved for me. So you can see here how much BNB I have. I could swap for whatever, right? If I did max, which you don't want to do, by the way, because remember, you can't sell all of your BNB because you need it for your transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and just use a different, I have some BUSD. As you can see here, I have about $50 in this stablecoin, right? And that's enough to buy this many Kyoto. And that makes sense, right? Because for the price of $33, you can buy about this much Kyoto. So there's two things you need to do. You need to approve the transaction first. That usually requires a little BNB, and then you actually do the swap. What's cool about Bogged Finance is that it actually has this auto tax feature. Like I mentioned, Kyoto has a buy and a sell tax. So you don't have to actually go and adjust your slippage to account for that. You can just click this button and set slippage to a really low value. It gives you some other information. It also allows you to click on this button to add the token to your wallet. And that's just so you can see it in your MetaMask. So if you wanted to buy this token, for example, you could just approve the transaction and perform the swap and you're good to go. Maybe I'll see if I could buy $1 worth. So I'm approving the transaction. Let me not use this wallet real quick. I think I might be able to use this one. Yeah, let me see. I think I have some USD or something on there. Okay. I'm just gonna buy a little bit of it, right? 0.02, maybe less than that. Just to show you, I already approved the transaction. As you can see here, it has the buy tax at 15%. So this exactly tells you what's going to happen. You're going to lose 15% of the tokens you bought. That's just the tax. You already know that going in, so you can go ahead and go forward. I kind of went by that really quickly, but I already had approved it. So I went to go swap, and then I confirmed it. You can view the transaction and make sure it's successful. As you can see, I clicked the button down there. It takes you to the blockchain scanner. And sometimes it takes a little while, but you can already tell from here the transaction was successful. If I go to my MetaMask and activity, it'll show this contract interaction and it went through. So I spent 0.002 BNB on this. And as you can see here, look at that. It confirmed 31 seconds ago, 45 cents, and I got this much. All right, so that's gonna be how you buy a token. You could have done the same thing on PancakeSwap, but if you're just getting into this, I think maybe BogSwap's the best, especially if you're dealing with taxes. So now you already have the token. As you can see here, you can actually sell the token for BNB. You would just do the opposite, right? You would switch here, Kyoto to BNB, approve, and then swap. Yeah, so it just tells you, I'm not gonna go ahead and do it again. But okay, so that's how you buy into projects. Now, sometimes I'll give you like a project like Sphere Finance, which was one of the top projects that we made quite a big amount of money on. So you can always type in the project, make sure it's the right token. As you can see here, this has 0 liquidity. So it's probably not the right one, but there could be another issue. Let me try that again. Okay, this had 24K volume. I know for a fact that this actually, the reason why this is an issue is because Sphere Finance has their own decentralized exchange called Dystopia. So it's probably not able to retrieve the liquidity. So another good thing that I would probably recommend is, go to where it's telling you, we know this is a real decentralized exchange. You can connect your wallet, and then you're already on a swap page, kind of similar to what we saw with PancakeSwap and Bog Finance. So this one doesn't have a fee. You would be able to just swap your whatever it is, USD plus or whatever it is for your token. So every now and then I will provide us a call, right, in Zahk DeFi, giving you guys a little alpha here. But I'll usually kind of describe a project. I'll tell you if it's a project that's just coming out, I'll tell you the start time, the websites, the docs, and everything for it. And I'll also give you the relevant charts. So this was a project they called not too long ago called 10share. And wow, yeah, I don't know what happened to this, but I actually called it before all this madness here. We were around over here about $1,800, and as you can see here, it eventually went to about $5,200. So that is quite a good return, about a 4x. So usually I'll call the project and I'll say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I actually bought in for. I called it around 1,800, but there was a lot of movement. I mentioned it's a small bag that I'm using, but because it's high risk. Shortly after that, maybe the next day, it was about a 1.5 to 2x return. So what you could have done here is you already bought the token. You go to the swap page. This is on Chronos, by the way. So when I switch to a different chain, it's going to be like, hey, do you want to do this? I'm going to say, yeah. Sometimes when you're on, multiple like dexes, like this is on Binance and the one we just went on is on Chronos, it'll like keep on asking if you want to swap change to the other blockchain. Just click no. Make sure you're on the right one, right? Or your transactions won't go through. This is my super degen account because it was a very degen project. So it shows you right here, you can buy 10share. The gas token on Chronos is Chronos itself. So I'm going to want to have some of that as well, similar way that I did with the BNB. And then you could buy it. And then when I say, hey, you got a profit, you can sell at that point, right? You can take the 1.5 to 2x return, or you can wait, right? Because I think at the 1.5, this was the all-time high. Something else about this project specifically, and I could show you real quick, unless it rugged. They might have rugged, which is good that we, made sure to take our profits. I always recommend people to take profits as often and as soon as possible. So I'm not going to look into what actually happened, but I will show you. They had these kind of farms. This is kind of like a Tomb Finance fork. You essentially deposit your tokens that you have, or your liquidity pool tokens, and they usually pay some sort of daily or yearly APR. So for this one, I think we were earning about 20 to 50% a day profit just by, depositing in here, right? So these are very high risk projects, this one specifically, but, as long as you're, in it for a short term period, like a day, max like 3 days, and you're kind of watching the charts and you're listening to my calls, my entries and exits, you can make really good money from this. Really quickly, I'll just go to my profit loss sheet. This is all of AV's profit loss. It does need to be updated since this day. But as you can see here, this needs to be updated because it went higher. This is the kind of return you could have made, right? This is what was likely a 30% profit. This is what I actually got. And then your maximum that you could have made from my entry, right? Because I got in at 2,700. You could have made about a 2x, but if you would have got in when I originally called it at 1,800, it would have been a 3x. So if you follow these kinds of steps, you can get this kind of return that, we've gotten in off of entries, right? And as a reminder, this is all like premium access membership that you get these calls, right? So these are just the stats of AV. You'll have access to this in the Discord. Let me just show you about that. So if you go to the section right here that says subscribe, you can open a ticket or sign up through here, and you will get access to our calls. You also have access to the profit loss sheet and AV resources, this right here. Anything else? Let me see. We also have our NFT calls, right? So, sometimes I'll post things here. Like, for example, Small Joe's was a product on Avalanche that you would have been able to get into because you had a Metamask and you had the Avalanche chain. It was a free mint. And right now they're currently going for 850 AVAX, which is about $15,000. So this is the kind of thing that you can get from, participating in our Discord, in our server. This is what I do full time. So, the profits are real. Everything can be verified. As you can see here, this is when I was like mentioning, hey, look, they're at 20 AVAX now. Even if you got in at that point, you would have made it a 40x-ish, or yeah, is that right? Something like that. But yeah, so if you want to subscribe, get access to these calls, it's just $40 a month. And right now we have our 25% off the monthly and lifetime. And then you get access to not only our calls, but our airdrops. So every now and then we'll get $1,000 or something worth of free money just because we did certain things in DeFi. This is why I stress everyone to be involved in DeFi. But yeah, this is kind of just a summary of how to participate in AV and how to participate in DeFi calls. Hopefully you learned something, and if you have questions, feel free to ask me. Hopefully we make money together. Thank you.